guys, what's going on? It's MassiveJoes RAW review, and I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com. Awesome raw review for the viewers at home today on an all new, one of the most anticipated all new lean muscle gainer protein powders on the market from our good friends at Optimum Nutrition. It is, of course, Gold Standard Gainer in the house. Let's get straight into it, show you guys exactly what's in it, tell you exactly what it's gonna do. That nutritional information panel ain't gonna get it done. We're about to go balls deep in this here. Made a mess of this already. Gold Standard Gainer. Fortunately, got ourselves a big ass nutritional information panel for the viewers at home. Dillip, go ahead and cut up that panel on the screen for the viewers. Starting from the top, serving size 2 scoops, 203 grams. So 100 grams in each one of those scoops. Got yourself about 11. Let's try that again. Got yourself about 11 of them 203 gram 2 scoop servings in one of these 5-pound bitches. Got yourself about 22, 23, depending on the flavor of those 203 gram 2 scoop serving bitches in one of these 10-pound bitches. This is going to be interesting. In terms of what the 203 gram 2 scoop servings is made up of course it's a protein powder, so we have to look at the macros. So the way this panel is split up is it's got the 2 scoop macros and then the 1 scoop macros. So we're gonna do it on the actual serving size, which is the 2 scoops. So we're gonna go to the panel on the left-hand side, the 2 scoop column. Starting from the top, calories, 760 total calories in 2 scoops. 90 of those are coming from fat. Now let's break it down to the macros. Starting with fat, we've got 10 grams of total fat in a 2 scoop serving. So in terms of a percentage of the total serving size, the 203 gram total serving size, we're talking about 5% fat. So that would be considered to be very low fat for a gainer protein powder. Of that 10 grams, 6 grams is saturated. So we've got 60% of the total fat as saturated fat. We'll get to where that saturated fat is coming from in a second. 0 grams of trans fat, which is good to see. Because we do have quite a bit of saturated fat, we also do have quite a bit of cholesterol, 70 milligrams, 480 milligrams of sodium, 1200 milligrams of potassium. Onto the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates in a 2 scoop serve, 112 grams as a percentage of the total 203 gram 2 scoop serving size is 55% carbs. Of those 112 grams of carbs, 8 grams is fiber. So we've got 7% of the carbohydrates are fiber and 12 of them are sugar, so 10% sugar. So we would consider this to be quite a low sugar gainer, which is fantastic to see. Moving right along, we then move into the protein. 55 grams in a 2 scoop serve, which by weight makes it 27% protein by weight. You can quickly see if you added up the ratio, because everyone likes to know about the ratio of the gainer. Is it a 4-to-1 carb to protein? Is it a 2-to-1 carb to protein? How much fat is in it, etc., etc. So you can quite quickly see that this here Gold Standard Gainer is a 2-to-1 carb to protein ratio gainer with a very small amount of fat. So 2-to-1 carbs, very low fat. If we now get into the ingredients, we can see where the proteins, the carbs, and the fats are coming from. Starting with the protein blend, it's a blend of whey protein isolate, whey protein concentrate, milk protein isolate, and whey protein hydrolysate, aka hydrolyzed whey protein isolate, aka HWPI. So we can quickly see that we're talking about primarily isolate proteins. The only protein source in there that's not an isolate is whey protein concentrate. So we're dealing with good quality sources of protein, which happen to be primarily fast digesting. The hydrolyzed WPI and the WPI are going to be fast digesting. The WPC and the milk protein isolate are going to be medium digesting. There's no slow digesting sources of protein. So we wouldn't go so far as to call it a staggered release protein or a sustained release protein, I'd probably go so far as to say it's like a semi-staggered. But primarily, all of those protein sources are going to be digested pretty damn fast, make their way into the bloodstream pretty damn fast as well, which therefore makes it ideal for during the day use and also around workout use, so pre-workout, possibly post-workout as well. The one thing that you do have to keep in mind, because it does contain WPC and milk protein isolate, is it is going to contain lactose, so there is going to be milk sugar, and you can see that that's where there's no added sugar, and there is 12 grams in a 2-scoop serve, so those sugars are coming from somewhere, obviously some from the carbohydrate blend, but also some from the lactose, the milk sugar in this protein blend. Moving right along, we then get into the carbohydrate blend. We're talking about a blend of oat flour, carb 10, which is one of my personal favorite carbohydrate sources. It comes from pea starch, so it's the carbohydrates from peas, potato starch, and maltodextrin, which comes from corn. So we've got oats, we've got peas, we've got potatoes, and we've got corn. The one thing that we don't know here is, well, similar to the protein blend, is we don't know exactly how much of each of those sources of carbohydrates or protein is in this here gold standard gainer, because they kind of package it all up in a proprietary blend, and they don't tell us exactly how much is in there. The one thing to be cautious of here, I wouldn't say concerned, I'd say cautious of, is the amount of maltodextrin in the gold standard gainer. That's something to be cautious of with any gainer, because viewers at home who are aware would know that I hate maltodextrin. Not a big fan of maltodextrin at all. The oat flour in there, fantastic. The carb 10 in there, fantastic. Big fan of those sources of carbohydrates. Potato starch, maltodextrin, not very good. We can make some assumptions though, based on how this nutritional information panel is laid out. The carbohydrate blend comes first, so we would assume that that is where the primary sources of carbohydrates is coming from, and the maltodextrin is listed after that. So we would go so far as to say primarily the combination of oats, peas, and potatoes, we don't know in what ratio, and then maltodextrin, which is fantastic. So using that assumption, we can see that we're talking primarily about low glycemic index, complex carbohydrates, with the exception of the maltodextrin, which is a complex high GI carbohydrate, but primarily low GI carbs, which therefore makes it perfect for use during the day and also pre-workout. Not so good for post-workout use, because post-workout, you guys would know that we are big preachers of high GI carbohydrates, high GI simple carbohydrates to be exact, post-workout for the insulin response. Moving right along, we then get into the fat blend. We are here talking about a blend of medium chain triglycerides, MCTs, we don't know where from, but it doesn't really matter, combined with flaxseed protein, as a matter of fact, but the fats are being sourced from the flaxseed protein, and then also chia seeds. So if we break these down, the MCTs are a source of saturated fats, hence why there is 60% of the total fat content in here is saturated fat, because obviously most of those fats are coming from MCTs. The flaxseed fats sourced from flax seeds are primarily unsaturated, as too are the fats sourced from chia seeds, also primarily unsaturated. So we've got effectively 60% of the total fats in this gold standard gainer are saturated. We're going to assume from MCTs. 40% are from the blend of the flaxseed fats and the chia seed fats. Once again, we don't know exactly what percentage of each of those sources is in, but based on how the nutritional information is laid out and the macronutrients and the saturated to unsaturated fats, we can make our own assumptions. Let's go with 60% MCTs, 40% blend of flaxseed and chia seeds. Once again, because of those sources of fats, for viewers at home who are unaware, MCTs, although they are a saturated fat, are much more able to be used as a source of energy than other saturated fats. So MCTs are like the good saturated fats, the kind of saturated fats that are found in things like coconut oil. So your body's able to burn them and create energy from MCTs much more readily than other sources of fat. And because of that, this fat blend also makes this gold standard gainer very good for during the day and pre-workout use. Once again, not so good for post-workout use. Got yourself some artificial colors, artificial flavors. You've got some sweeteners in there. You've got some gum blends and some bits and pieces to help with the thickness of this gainer, make it nice and give it a nice mouth-feel texture when you're drinking it or eating it or whatever you plan to do. And that's what's in it. So I really like the fact that we are able to break this down to a point for the viewers at home. I love doing raw reviews on fully disclosed nutritional information panels. As you guys would already know, this isn't completely fully disclosed. As I mentioned, we don't know the exact amounts of the proteins in the protein blend, the carbs in the carb blend, the fats in the fat blend, but we're able to make our own deductions based on the macronutrients as to what's in it. So we're dealing with, on paper, a very high quality gainer protein powder, 2-to-1 carb to protein ratio, very low fat, but very good high quality sources of protein, high quality sources of carbohydrates, high quality sources of fats. So on paper, gets the 2 thumbs up from MassiveJoes. In terms of how it tastes, how it mixes, comes in 2 sizes, which you've already been through, the 5-pound and the 10-pound. And I will actually point out, if you didn't already pick up on it, they're both bags. So in the past, Optimum Nutrition with their gainers, their Serious Mass Pro Complex gainer, the smaller sizes have been tubs. With this gold standard gainer, that's a 5-pound tub, which is a 5-pound bag, and then also comes in the big ass 10-pound bag, which is obviously a bag. So both of them are bags. Don't get it twisted. Don't buy yourself a 5-pound expecting that you're gonna get a tub, because you're gonna get one of these bags. So it comes in the 2 sizes, comes in 4 flavors, comes in chocolate, which goes straight to the biceps. Shit, I've worn the raglan, I couldn't even get the bicep peak. Chocolate. Just imagine you can see the bicep, which goes straight to the biceps. Comes in vanilla, comes in cookies and cream, comes in at the shooting of this raw review, not yet available in Australia, but apparently is on its way. Cinnamon bun. Infamous MassiveJoes taste and mixability test about to go down. I have personally already tried the chocolate and the vanilla flavor. I haven't tried the cinnamon bun, which we currently don't have in Australia at the time I'm shooting this video, but we do have the cookies and cream in the big ass 10-pound bag. So I have to do the infamous MassiveJoes taste and mixability test on the cookies and cream. You guys know it. So I'm about to, I can't even, this is what, you know what, Optimum? I'm pissed because I don't have a tub to bro punch that bitch in. That's my whole shtick. So I'm gonna have to nicely open this Ziploc bag of the Optimum Nutrition Gold Standard Gainer in the cookies and cream flavor. No, I'm not gonna be able to open it. No, I got it. All right, so no bro punch for you guys this time. Gonna open up this 10-pound bag of the cookies and cream. Scoop is on top. Bravo, ON, bravo. Scoop is sitting on top. Now I'm gonna, Optimum, one of their big selling points with this gold standard gainer is how well it mixes. So I don't want to sell them short, but I also do want to put them to the absolute test. So I'm going to follow their directions exactly. It says add 1 scoop filled to the top fill line. So the scoop must have a fill line. Let's have a look. Top fill line. Where's the fill line? Okay, I'm just gonna say to the top. So we're gonna go to the top. So add 1 scoop filled to the top fill line of gold standard gainer to a shaker cup filled with 10 fluid ounces of water and shake it for 30 seconds. Team MassiveJoes Elite Shaker with exactly 10 fluid ounces of water in there. That does not look like a lot of water to me, Optimum Nutrition. But you guys, hey, I'm following your instructions. So 1 full scoop, we're gonna take 1 full scoop and it says shake for 30 seconds. So Dillip, you're gonna have to time lapse this shit, man. All right. 1 full scoop filled to the top line, 10 fluid ounces of water. Get the logo, 10 fluid ounces of water. I'm gonna throw this bitch in this bitch, try not to get it all over the damn place. That is a lot of powder for a very small amount of water. I'm gonna throw the lid on. Few flicks of the wrist. I'm gonna shake it for 30 seconds. So Dillip, you're gonna have to time lapse this shit because I'm following the instructions down to a point. Few flicks of the wrist. I'll show you guys how it mixes. And then for the very first time on camera, I'll tell you guys how this cookies and cream tastes, man. Probably got 25 seconds left. Let's go. Did they really have somebody doing this for 30 seconds when they beta tested this shit? 30 seconds is a long time to shake a protein. Boom! The 30-second shaker challenge has been completed. That is a little ridiculous. I can't say I've ever paid that much attention to how long I shake a protein shake for, but I would say usually it's like a few flicks of the wrist. I'll probably shake it for 5 seconds. But we've put in the 30 seconds. Let me show you guys how this is mixed. Refresh my memory on how this tastes, man. So here we go, the ultimate test. 10 fluid ounces of water, 1 scoop, 30 seconds. I gotta say, I'm pretty damn impressed. I'm not seeing any chunks, I'm not seeing any floaters, I'm not seeing any sinkers. I would have to say, it is a GAINER protein powder, so blended ball is still required. But for a GAINER protein powder, even though I had to shake that shit and almost put in an arm workout doing so, very well mixed. Let me, for the first time ever, see how this cookies and cream tastes, man. They've done well. They've done very, very well. I've tried both the chocolate and vanilla, and I was very impressed with the chocolate and vanilla. Cookies and cream, for those of you who have tried any other protein that Optimum Nutrition do in cookies and cream, it's probably their most polarizing flavor. What I mean by that is some people really like it, other people really don't like it. Me personally, I've really yet to try cookies and cream from ON that I've really liked. I wouldn't say that that is, you know, it's definitely not a Syntha 6 cookies and cream type flavor, but it's pretty damn good and definitely, in my personal opinion, much better than any other cookies and cream flavor that I've tried from Optimum in any of their proteins. The cool thing is it does have little cookie pieces in there, which is a fantastic treat in your GAINER. But I would go so far as to say that that cookies and cream is really good. If I had to rank the flavors based on the ones that I've tried, I really enjoyed the chocolate. So I'd probably go the chocolate as my personal favorite. After the chocolate, I'd probably slide in the cookies and cream. Then I'd slide in the vanilla. As I mentioned, I haven't tried the cinnamon bun yet, but I can imagine that that's gonna be pretty damn good. But that's how I would personally rank the flavors. I will also go one step further and show you guys exactly that because of the ingredients in this gold standard GAINER, not only does it mix well and make a very nice tasting, good mouthfeel as well. That's probably something I forgot to mention. Nice like mouthfeel, nice texture. It's not too thick. It's not too thin. It tastes like a milkshake. It's got that real milkshake texture. It's just a really nice mouthful, really pleasant to drink. But if you don't want to drink it, it does also make a really good sludge. So I'm about to put it to the sludge test right here. Got myself a bowl and a spoon and a glass of water. I've got about probably 10 fluid ounces of water in there, so about 300 mils of water. And I'll just show you guys that how it does actually make a really good sludge as well because of the carbohydrate blend in here in particular. So I'm gonna take once again, 1 scoop of this gold standard GAINER. I'm just gonna drop it in this bowl right here. Get this back out the way. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have to stand up for this one. So I'm gonna take that bowl right there, and then you just wanna add a little bit of water to it, and then just grab your spoon and mix that protein powder up in that water. And you can see it's just gonna take to the protein there, and you just keep mixing that up. And this is probably even a better ultimate test of mixability of a protein powder, in particular a GAINER protein powder, than the infamous MassiveJoes taste and mixability test in a blender bottle, because if it's gonna clump up and it's gonna chunk up and it's not gonna mix, there's no way you're gonna be able to do it in a bowl like this and make up that sludge. So there you go. So I've used 1 scoop in terms of like the ratios. That's a damn perfect texture for sludge right there. So I've used 1 scoop, and I've used probably, man, like absolute tops. I've used like 100 ml of water. So like 3.5 fluid ounces of water. And that sludge there is absolutely perfect. So if you don't want to eat, if you don't want to drink your gold standard GAINER, you can make it up into a sludge like that and you can eat it. You can put like blueberries and stuff on there. If you want to increase the carbs, you can chuck some oats or some muesli or whatever. But it also makes a really good sludge. And the flavors, because they're not too sweet and they're not too blow your head off, they not only taste good when you mix them, but if you make a sludge up like that, they also taste really good in the sludge. In terms of the effects, there's a couple of things that I will say about this here gold standard GAINER, and I'm gonna frame them in how I personally have used it. So I was fortunate enough, I actually used this gold standard GAINER a couple of months ago before it was released at Optimum Nutrition headquarters in Chicago. I used it as a pre-workout meal because I was pressed for time. I needed a fast digesting pre-workout meal. I didn't have any food on me that was convenient to eat at the time. So I mixed myself up some gold standard GAINER in sludge, as a matter of fact, and ate it as my pre-workout meal. And from my personal experience, that personal experience digests really easily. I had literally had it probably half an hour before I trained. So it digested really easily, didn't give me any stomach upset or bloating or any gastrointestinal upset whatsoever, and really worked as a pre-workout meal really fantastic for me personally. And I have used it a number of times after that as like a last minute kind of pre-workout meal when I haven't had time to actually eat, let the food digest and then train afterwards. So as a pre-workout meal for me, really good. The one thing that I will point out is, as I have mentioned, just be cautious that there is lactose in it, so be cautious of the lactose content. And if you are lactose intolerant, it may give you a little bit of gastrointestinal upset. I'm not, so it didn't really bother me at all. I'm just going to use that as a segue as well, my personal experience with this here gold standard GAINER, to say that it has been marketed as a between meal or a post-workout protein shake. I disagree with the post-workout side of the marketing because it doesn't have high GI carbohydrates in there. If it had high GI carbohydrates, perfect for post-workout, but because by virtue of that, it wouldn't be good for during the day. So I personally think that the best time to use this gold standard GAINER is in between meals, or as a meal replacement, as I have done, as a pre-workout meal replacement is absolutely fantastic. But I wouldn't recommend it as a post-workout, because I think we can do better for muscle recovery post-workout using super fast digesting proteins like Platinum Hydro Whey, super fast digesting carbohydrates, and then you can get your creatine, your glutamine, and all the other bits and pieces in there that you want to help with muscle recovery. But I think as a during the day, in between meals or meal replacement, and then also as a pre-workout meal replacement, very, very good, good product. I will also mention though that obviously it's marketed as a GAINER, gold standard GAINER. It's marketed at people that are trying to make themselves some gains. And the one thing that you have to remember, the golden key, the major key when you're trying to make gains is caloric surplus, is making sure you are consuming more calories than your body requires for energy during any given period, during any 24-hour period. If you're not in caloric surplus, you will not make gains. So the one thing that really I think they kind of missed with the marketing behind this gold standard gainer is this is a meal addition. So if you're trying to make gains, you need to take what you're if you're trying to make gains and you're not making gains because you're not in caloric surplus, you need to take what you're currently consuming and then take this here gold standard gainer in between meals and put it on top. So it's not a meal replacement, it's a meal addition to push you into caloric surplus. And to serve that purpose, it does very well because it's very high quality, good sources of protein, good sources of carbs, good sources of fats. It digests very easily. It doesn't cause digestive upset or gastrointestinal upset that I found personally. It tastes really good. It mixes really well. You can drink it, you can eat it, which makes it very versatile. The final thing that I will say is as a costing, because really, whenever you start talking about gainers and you start talking about getting in caloric surplus, you really need to compare your gainer protein powder, not think of it as a supplement, think of it as a source of food, and therefore you're comparing it economically in terms of value for money against food. When we're looking at this gold standard gainer, and let's take the big bags, in Australia, retail price $139.95, 23 serves, so you're looking at around $6 per serve. For 55 grams of protein, 115 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat, if you were to try and replicate those macronutrients, once again, using high quality ingredients, so let's say your protein is coming from any source of meat, let's use chicken for example, or red meat or whatever it may be, turkey, fish, whatever, carbohydrates from rice, for example, rice or oats or sweet potatoes or white potatoes or whatever it may be, and a good high quality source of fats from something like coconut oil. To get those sort of macronutrients from good quality whole food sources, you'd be looking at, if you were to do it yourself, probably at least $10. If you were to eat out, if you were to get someone else to do it, you're probably up around the $20 mark. So at $6 per serve in the big bags, a little bit more expensive in the smaller bags, of course, but at $6 per serve in the big bags, it absolutely smashes other sources, other whole food sources of those high quality macronutrients. So guys, if you're in the market for a high quality lean muscle gainer that's going to get you your 2-to-1 ratio carbs to protein, good sources of protein, good sources of carbs, good sources of fats, mixed well, tastes great, versatile as you got to get yourself some of this here gold standard gainer. Guys, hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, man. Stay up to date with all the latest editions of MassiveJoes RAW review. If you're watching this on the mobile, don't forget to turn your post notifications on so you don't miss a beat when it comes to the MassiveJoes YouTube channel. And guys, that is MassiveJoes RAW review on the all new gold standard gainer in the house. And I'm coming to you from MassiveJoes.com.